Alright, Odd Socks crew, strap yourselves in because today we're not just walking into battle. Oh no, we're stomping into it with giant mechs armed to the teeth. Welcome to Rohga Armored Force, or as I like to call it, the game where explosions are mandatory and subtlety was left at home. This isn't your average run and gun. Oh no. This is what happens when someone said, hey, Contra's great, but what if we made it bigger, louder, and gave you a walking tank that looks like it skipped leg day, but never skipped arm day? You pilot a fully customizable mech, meaning you can tweak it with different weapons and parts. Like some kind of Frankenstein's monster, but purely for mayhem and property damage. Machine guns, missiles and flamethrowers, basically everything short of the kitchen sink, though I wouldn't be surprised if they packed that in there too. And the enemies? Oh, they don't come here to play. Oh no, we're talking tanks, aircraft and more mechs and bosses so huge, you'll be checking the screen to make sure your TV hasn't switched to another game mid-level. Every battle feels like a Michael Bay movie, minus the awkward romance subplot. But here's the kicker. You're not invincible, oh no. Underneath all that armor is a very squishy human pilot who can eject and keep fighting in a smaller mech suit when your giant mech gets destroyed. Which is both badass and terrifying because let's be honest, one minute you're a giant war machine and the next you're just a dude in an exoskeleton standing next to a tank thinking, yeah, this is a mistake. So get ready for chaos, customization and more explosives than a fireworks warehouse on New Year's Eve. This is Rohga Armored Force, and trust me, this game doesn't just turn the volume up to 11, it rips the dial clean off and throws it at your face. As always, we'll be looking at the story, the sound, and the gameplay, and a little later on, I'll be letting you guys know my Evercade stats on how long it took me to complete. But before we do that, here's some interesting facts about this purple cart. Released on July 10th, 2025, Windjammer's Karnov and Friends dropped as purple cart number 15 in the Evercade arcade line. This wasn't just a nostalgia drop, it was a powerhouse mix of fan favourites and cult classics that gave Evercade players a taste of Data East at their wildest. This cart packed variety of genres, sports, platforming and shmup, and including an auto runner as well. The multiplayer is gold here in both Windjammers and Vapor Trail, and they shine in couch co-op or versus play. And this cart is a showcase of Data East's mini history. That's right, it showcases the company's range from weird mascots to futuristic shooters. You just gotta question, why didn't they just call this Data East Collection number 3? Sure, it's only got 5 games, but what you get here is quality over quantity. Windjammers alone can keep friends shouting at the screen for hours, while Karnov and Rohga add that one more go arcade frustration we all secretly love. For collectors, it's a standout purple cart. For players, it's a sampler plate of arcade energy that hits you with fireballs, frisbees, and fighter jets, all in one go. Now, I paid $33.33 for this cart, but this has 5 games on it, so we can't say that I paid that. For the purpose of this review, we have to say that I spent $6.66, meaning for me to get my $10 per hour ratio, I'll need to play and complete this game in longer than 40 minutes. And I can successfully say I achieved that playing and completing the game in 1 hour and 17 minutes, meaning I had a $5.20 per hour ratio, which is almost double what I needed. I had a play count of 1, a load count of 1, and a save count of 1, meaning, once again, I completed this game on my first playthrough. Let's take a look at the story. So in the year 2001, 2 years after the events of Vapor Trail Hyper-Offense formation, the world is facing trouble again. The rogue organization, which everyone thought was long gone, decides to make a dramatic comeback. Their goal? Take over advanced mech factories in Oceania, yes, that includes Australia and New Zealand, and use those monstrous machines to unleash chaos. Honestly, you'd think after their first attempt someone would have given them a timeout. To stop turning the Southern Hemisphere into their personal playground, the United States Air Force teams up with the Royal Australian Air Force, and together they send elite mech pilots into the thick of all the action. That's where you come in. Strapped into a massive mech that makes your morning coffee look small, you're tasked with reclaiming territories, dodging missiles, and proving that you're more reliable than the office printer on Monday morning. The mechs themselves are a thing of beauty and of terror. You get to pick from 4 unique types, each with its own weapons, speed, and style. One mech might be all about rapid-fire chaos, and another feels like piloting a tank with legs, while the others let you jump, dash, and blast your way through enemies with style. The game blends run-and-gun intensity with platforming precision, meaning if you thought dodging your inbox was hard, try weaving through grenades and laser beams at the same time. Forces do come in waves, from standard grunt enemies to heavily armed mechs that make you question your own life choices. The terrain changes constantly too, from urban streets that scream destruction derby to rugged outback environments where your mech might trip over a kangaroo if it were real. The objective here is simple: shoot everything that moves, stay alive, and maybe, just maybe, feel like a hero in a world that clearly forgot to install traffic lights. The story itself is straightforward and there's no twist. No secret double agent, no plot twist ending where the mech is actually your long lost uncle. It's pure arcade style mayhem. That's the charm. The narrative provides just enough context to care about your mission while letting you focus on the real joy, which is blasting, dodging, and punching your way to victory. In other words, Rohga Armor Force is like the arcade equivalent of eating all your favorite snacks in one sitting. It's simple, it's satisfying, and occasionally making you question your own life choices. For the odd sock score on the story, I give Rohga Armor Force a 6 out of 10. Now don't get me wrong, it's not going to win any awards here, but that's just kind of the charm. This is arcade storytelling distilled down to its purest form. Short, punchy, and packed with just enough context to make you care about piloting your mech into a war zone. Think of it like fast food for your brain. You get the satisfaction without needing to read a 200-page manual first. Being a sequel, it actually leans into the predecessor nicely. The world has moved on since Vapor Trail, and the chaos is just as deliciously over the top. There's enough setup to make you understand why the mechs exist and why pressing start is probably the most responsible decision you'll make today. It's concise, it's direct, and it sets the stage for the mayhem that follows. Imagine your mech giving a motivational speech. I didn't sign up for this, but let's smash some robots anyway. The story's strength isn't in its jaw-dropping twists or hidden betrayals, it's in its clarity and purpose. It's like someone said, we don't need a novel, we don't need anything other than explosions and laser beams, and that's exactly what you get here.
Frickin' laser beams attached to their heads!
The world feels lived in enough to justify your mech rampaging adventure, yet light enough that you don't need a PhD in Rohga lore to understand what the hell is going on. It's the perfect balance of don't overthink it and get ready to press all the buttons. And let's be honest, the real hero here isn't the plot, it's you and your mech. The story exists to give your fists, rockets, and lasers something to aim at. It sets the stakes just high enough that you feel like a hero, but not so high that you need a dictionary to keep up. It's short, it's punchy, it's fun, and it sets the tone for some serious mechanical mayhem. Plus, I gotta say, it's satisfying knowing that in a world on fire, a giant robot is still the most reasonable solution. So yeah, the story won't blow your mind here, but it delivers exactly what you need: context, stakes, and the moral certainty that smashing everything in your path is totally justified. If sequels had a motto, this one would be, why complicate things when you can mech things up? Let's take a look at the sound. Now let's talk about the sound, because honestly, Rohga Armor Force wouldn't feel half as explosive without it. From the moment your mech hits the battlefield, the music slams you into that all systems go mayhem engaged mindset. It's upbeat, it's punchy, and it's relentless. Basically like someone strapping a rock band to the back of your mech and telling them to play as hard as possible while dodging missiles. Every level brings its own track, keeping the pace frantic but oddly satisfying. The tunes are catchy enough that your brain starts bobbing along even as your mech is getting pelted by rockets, lasers, and whatever that spinning robot thinks it's doing in your face. The soundtrack is sneaky too. It makes you feel like a tactical genius even when you accidentally barrel into the scenery. Yep, totally calculated collision, very strategic. And those sound effects, absolute arcade gold. Every explosion has weight and every laser blast hits with crisp authority, and the mech's weapons fire with that kind of satisfying crunch that makes you grin like a kid smacking tin cans with a stick. Even when you get obliterated, the metallic clang and dramatic zap feel like the game is saying, "It's okay, you'll get 'em next time, champ." Honestly, if mechs could talk, I'm pretty sure mine would sigh and mutter, "Another day, another crater, can we at least get hazard pay now?" The way the enemies respond to your attacks is also just as satisfying. You see a laser hit a tank, hear that metallic bang, and you just know that poor robot is thinking, "I didn't sign up for this." It's chaotic, it's intense, and it gives every action a satisfying, punchy feedback loop. And let's be honest, any game where a mech's foot stomping could be its own percussion section deserves at least a slow clap. Rohga Armor Force was made by Data East, the same legends behind Windjammers and Karnov, so they truly know how to make sound mean business. The combination of music and sound effects makes you feel like your ears are riding shotgun in a giant walking death machine, except this one actually cheers you on instead of complaining about the gas mileage. All in all, the sound in Rohga Armor Force is punchy, chaotic, and absolutely satisfying. It perfectly matches the game's high-energy mech battles and adds that extra layer of excitement, making each laser blast and missile detonation feel like an epic rock concert while your mech is the lead singer. Just remember, if you start tapping your foot to dodge rockets, don't blame me, blame the soundtrack. So for the odd sock score on the sound, I give Rohga Armor Force a solid 7 out of 10. And here's why. The music isn't just a background hum, it actively pushes you forward like it's yelling, "Step on it, pilot!" Each track is fast-paced, adrenaline-fueled, and perfectly matches the chaos on screen. You can feel the rhythm in your fingers as your mech barrels through waves of enemies, dodges missiles, and unleashes rocket volleys.
Feel the rhythm! Feel the rhyme! Get on up! It's bobsled time! Cool running!
The tunes are intense enough to make even mundane maneuvers feel heroic, like you're starring in a mech action movie with no stunt double. Now let's talk sound effects because this is where the game really shines. Every blast from your weapon has weight, the lasers zap with sharp precision, rockets whoosh with satisfying speed, and explosions hit with enough punch that you can almost feel your mech shake. Even dashing into enemies has a fun, impactful thud that reinforces just how heavy and powerful your mech feels. These effects make every firefight feel kinetic, rewarding, and more importantly, frantic in the best possible way. What I love most is how the music and effects work together to keep the gameplay feeling non-stop. You're not just pressing buttons, you're in the thick of high-stakes, breakneck mech combat. There's a constant sense of urgency where missing a beat or a shot can mean disaster, and the audio design amplifies that adrenaline, making every run feel like a pulse-pounding mission. In short, the sound in Rohga Armor Force hits like that sweet spot between exciting and intense. It might not be a masterpiece, but it keeps your heart racing and your fingers moving, perfectly matching the action-packed gameplay. It's a sonic engine that powers the chaos, and for me, that's a big part of why piloting these mechs feels so thrilling. Let's take a look at the gameplay. The gameplay in Rohga Armor Force is pure mechanical mayhem from start to finish. One of the first things you'll notice is the variety of mechs at your disposal, each with its own style, speed and firepower. Some are tanky, taking a hit or two while stomping through enemies like a meat bulldozer. Others are lighter and faster, zipping around the screen and letting you dance between projectiles like a caffeinated ballerina in a war zone. Choosing your mech isn't just a cosmetic decision, it completely changes how you tackle the chaos in the battlefield. And let's talk the moves here, because this isn't just a button mashing affair. The slide move is brilliant, letting you duck under enemy fire, squeeze through the tight spots, or just feel like a mech with attitude. Nothing says "I've got this" quite like sliding under a barrage of missiles while your mech's turbojets leave a dramatic afterburn trail behind you. Honestly, it's the kind of move that makes you feel cooler than you probably deserve. And even if you slip up, well, that's where the game really spices things up. And here's the wild part: when your mech takes too much damage and blows up, the chaos doesn't end, you're just tossed into a smaller, lighter exosuit type mech. Suddenly everything feels jolty, you're bouncing around the screen like a little pinball, and you're just firing, dodging, and the physics change, and the hitbox is different, and just surviving in this compact little death machine becomes a whole new challenge. It's like trading in a tank for a pogo stick. It's exciting, it's unpredictable, and a little bit ridiculous. Overall, the gameplay keeps you on your toes, constantly adapting to the mech's types, terrain, and the relentless enemy waves. Every level is a frantic test of reflexes, strategy, and your ability to embrace mechanical chaos with a grin on your face. And maybe a few groans when that slide didn't quite save you from a rocket. It's fast, it's fun, and it's exactly the kind of arcade adrenaline rush you want from a side-scrolling mech shooter. So for the odd socks score on the gameplay, I give Rohga Armor Force a 5 out of 10. And honestly, it's not because it's bad, it's just over-the-top chaotic. There's so much happening on screen at once that you quickly lose track of what the hell's actually going on. As long as you're mashing that fire button like it owes you money, you've got a shot. But actually dodging anything, forget it. Enemies, bullets, explosions, and hazards are all crammed together like rush hour traffic, and it's a miracle you survived more than a few seconds without screaming at your screen. I mean, I haven't seen this many things trying to ruin my day since my mum said, "We need to talk about your room." The mechs themselves are pretty cool though, and you've got your big heavy duty armor for all that chaos, and then suddenly, boom, your mech blows up and you're dropped into this smaller, lighter exosuit. It's like being forced to downgrade from a monster truck to a scooter mid-race. And when you're in that exosuit, there's no point of even trying. I died within about 5 seconds each time, but the great news is I can hit that little continue button and then once again be the mech that I want to be. And that slide move, don't get me wrong, it's satisfying when it works, but good luck timing it perfectly. I tried using it to dodge a barrage of enemies and ended up sliding straight into another wave. It's basically the video game equivalent of I came, I slid, I immediately regretted it. Look, I want to like it, I really do. It's flashy, loud, and it's full of arcade energy, but there's just so much going on that it makes everything overwhelming. It's one of those games that looks cooler than it plays kind of games, and sometimes I felt like I needed a clipboard just to keep track of all the explosions, bullets, and mechs zooming around. So yeah, the gameplay is a wild ride, but it can easily leave you feeling like you're juggling chainsaws while being blindfolded. Is it a spectacle? Absolutely. Is it playability? Well, at least it gives your thumbs a really good workout. Overall, I give Rohga Armor Force a 6 out of 10. Now here's the thing, while the gameplay could feel a little bit overwhelming, like being in the middle of a fireworks factory with lasers and missiles flying everywhere, the game still manages to keep me hooked. The story might not be twisting my brain into knots, but it's enough to give some context for all the mech mayhem. You know, bad guys appear, we blast them, rinse and repeat kind of story. It's concise, it's clear, and it lets you get straight into the action without needing any kind of backstory. Now, the sound, absolutely stellar. The music pumped me up like I was a robot ready to destroy everything in sight. Explosions, laser blasts, and mech rockets all have that satisfying punch that makes every hit feel weighty, like your exosuit is really throwing down. Honestly, the audio alone made me feel like a one mech army, and it kept the adrenaline flowing even when my brain was screaming, wait, what the hell is going on? And yes, the gameplay might get overwhelming at times. Enemies come from you at all angles, and the screen can get so packed to the brim that dodging can seem impossible, but there's a weird charm to it all. It's chaotic, it's slightly terrifying, but it's impossible not to do it with a smile on your face. You might find yourself mashing the fire button and laughing at the absurdity of it all. So all in all, while the controls and sheer chaos might not be for everyone, the story, sound and overall spectacle made Rohga Armor Force a fun ride. It's not flawless, but it's the kind of arcade-style mech madness that's easy to get lost in, explosions, adrenaline, and all. It's a game that makes you feel like a giant robot superhero, even if you can't dodge half the bullets flying around you. Well, thank you so much for watching another deep dive Evercade completion review. Please remember to give me a like, subscribe, and comment down below, because hearing what you guys think of the games that I'm playing gets me pumped up to keep doing this. If you like what you saw, remember to hit that share button and please subscribe, because my goal is to get 200 subs before the end of 2025. Until next week, remember, stay odd, stay awesome, and we'll see you next time for another episode. See you later, guys.
Woo!